Subscribe before the truth disappears, because what you're about to hear will make you think twice before getting into your next ride home. It was 1:42 a.m. on a Friday in late October when 24-year-old Emily Carter left the Neon Lounge in downtown Denver. The night was chilly, the kind of cold that cut through your jacket the moment you stepped outside. Surveillance footage showed her standing on the curb, scrolling through her phone, swaying slightly in her heels. She'd texted her roommate, "Heading home, Uber's here." That message was the last anyone ever received from her. The next morning, Emily's roommate, Maya, woke up to an empty bedroom and a string of unread messages. By noon, her concern had turned into panic. She called the Uber support line, then the police. Within hours, detectives were combing through digital records, tracing GPS data, and interviewing witnesses. The Uber app showed Emily had been picked up at 1:46 a.m. by a driver named Daniel Reeves, a 33-year-old man with no prior record, 5-star ratings, and over 2,000 completed rides. The ride was supposed to last 12 minutes. It ended abruptly after just 6. The car, a black Toyota Camry, had gone off route, stopping near an industrial area by the edge of the South Platte River. After that, both Daniel and Emily's phones went offline. Detective Laura Grayson, a 17-year veteran of the Denver Police Department, was assigned the case. She'd seen her share of missing person reports, but something about this one felt different. Too clean, too quiet. There was no struggle caught on camera, no witnesses, no abandoned purse, just a data trail that stopped dead in the middle of nowhere. By evening, officers found Daniel's car parked behind an abandoned warehouse. The engine was cold. The back seat was spotless save for a single strand of long blonde hair and a faint smudge on the rear window, the shape of a hand pressed against glass. Inside the trunk, they found Daniel's Uber phone still logged in, navigation open, the final route frozen mid-trip. But there was no sign of Daniel himself. The press picked up the story within 24 hours. Missing woman's Uber ride ends in mystery dominated headlines across Colorado. Public fear spread like wildfire. Uber issued a statement promising full cooperation, while users flooded social media demanding to know how a verified driver could simply vanish. Meanwhile, Detective Grayson dug deeper into Daniel's background. He'd worked construction before driving full-time. No criminal record, no known enemies, no history of violence. But one detail stood out. 3 previous riders had filed minor complaints. He took the wrong route. He seemed distracted. He kept asking weird questions. When detectives visited his apartment, they found the door unlocked. Inside, everything looked untouched. Bed made, wallet on the counter, toothbrush still wet. On the kitchen table sat a handwritten note. "I tried to stop it, I really did, but she wasn't supposed to be there." No signature, no fingerprints except his. Grayson stared at the words for a long time. She wasn't supposed to be there. What did that mean? 2 days later, the forensics team uncovered something chilling. In the dirt near where the car was found, faint tire tracks from a second vehicle. Smaller, different tread pattern. Someone else had been there that night. Then came a break. A local fisherman called in a report of a black jacket floating downstream near the Platte River Dam. It was Emily's, confirmed by DNA on the lining. But there was no body. That night, police divers searched the river until sunrise. Nothing. No phone, no shoes, no trace of Emily Carter. The investigation shifted toward Daniel Reeves. The media painted him as a potential predator, but Grayson wasn't convinced. His bank records showed no unusual transactions. His car's GPS had been tampered with, a line of corrupted data suggesting someone else had accessed the system remotely. As she sifted through his digital logs, one file stood out. A series of encrypted messages sent to an unlisted number days before Emily disappeared. When decrypted, they read like instructions. Friday night. She fits the profile. Stick to plan. Location confirmed. Grayson's pulse quickened. Whoever sent those messages wasn't just involved. They were orchestrating something bigger. Then, late one night, a 911 call came in from a security guard at the Denver freight yard. A man matching Daniel's description had been seen wandering the area, barefoot, disoriented, mumbling something about the river and the wrong girl. Officers arrived minutes later, but the man had already vanished into the maze of cargo containers. They found only a trail of blood drops leading to a locked storage unit. When they pried it open, the smell hit first, metallic, heavy, unmistakable. Inside was a torn Uber decal, a discarded phone charger, and a single Polaroid photo pinned to the wall. It showed a young woman, not Emily, sitting in the back seat of Daniel's car, smiling nervously at the camera. On the back, written in shaky handwriting, "Test run complete." Grayson froze. There was no timestamp, no name, no location, just that message. Whoever was behind this had done it before, and Emily might not have been the first victim. As the detectives processed the scene, Grayson's radio crackled. A patrol unit searching the opposite side of the freight yard had discovered something else. A wallet, wedged behind a stack of wooden pallets. Inside was Daniel Reeves' driver's license, and beneath it, a folded piece of paper smeared with dirt and river water. It read, "She wasn't the target. Check ride ID number 5428, the one before hers." Grayson rushed back to the station, heart pounding. Ride ID number 5428 belonged to a pickup from earlier that same night. Same car, same driver, different passenger. And when officers went to knock on Ava's door, no one answered. Neighbors said she hadn't been seen in days. That was when Detective Grayson realized Emily's disappearance wasn't random. Someone had used the Uber system to hunt. But who was behind the screen? And what had happened to Ava Sinclair? Because if Daniel Reeves wasn't the monster everyone thought he was, then the real predator was still out there. And they were watching.
The rain came hard over Denver that night. Sheets of water hammering down on asphalt, washing the city in flickering neon reflections. Detective Laura Grayson sat in her unmarked cruiser outside the Denver Tech Center complex, her fingers tapping against the steering wheel as she stared at the darkened apartment belonging to Ava Sinclair. The blinds were drawn, mail piled up at the door, and on the porch, a single Uber Eats bag, cold and untouched for 3 days. Ava's phone had been off since Friday night, the same night Emily Carter vanished. Ride logs confirmed it. Daniel Reeves had picked her up at 12:18 a.m., dropped her off 15 minutes later near the same industrial zone by the South Platte River, just an hour before Emily's ride. That was the link. 2 women, same driver, same area, back-to-back rides. But Ava had vanished first. By Monday morning, a full task force was on the case. The FBI's Denver field office stepped in, citing a possible pattern of abduction through app-based transport services, a chilling phrase that made national headlines within hours. Agents began reconstructing Ava's last known movements. She'd been out with coworkers at a tech firm's happy hour. Quiet, responsible, known to take Ubers home when she stayed out late. A model citizen, the kind no one expected to vanish without a trace. Her boyfriend, Ethan Rowe, was the first to be questioned. He claimed Ava texted him at 12:17 a.m. "Just called my Uber. I'll text when I'm home." But the follow-up message never came. When asked about Daniel Reeves, Ethan's eyes darkened. "That's the guy everyone's talking about, right? The driver? If he hurt her, if he did something to her." He didn't finish the sentence. Grayson pressed further. "Did Ava mention anything strange before she left that night?" He hesitated. "Yeah, actually. She said her app glitched. It showed a different driver's photo for a second, some other guy, then switched back to Daniel's face. She joked that maybe Uber's haunted." Grayson felt a chill crawl up her spine. If the system had glitched, it might not have been an accident. Someone could have spoofed the driver ID, hijacking the pickup digitally. But how? The next discovery came from Uber's security division. Investigators found that both Ava's and Emily's ride data had been rerouted through a third-party proxy server before reaching Uber's main database, an anomaly they'd never seen before. It meant someone with technical knowledge, possibly even an insider, had tampered with the system in real time. Someone was selecting victims, and Daniel Reeves, the driver, had likely been a pawn. Still, Daniel was missing. No sightings, no calls, no bank activity. Until that morning. At 9:46 a.m., a farmer 40 miles south of Denver reported a man wandering near an irrigation ditch, drenched, barefoot, and trembling. He matched Daniel's description. Deputies rushed to the scene, finding him shivering under a bridge. When Grayson arrived, Daniel was slumped against a concrete wall, muttering to himself. His lips were cracked, his eyes hollow, hands shaking as if from shock. "Daniel," Grayson said softly, kneeling beside him. "Where's Emily Carter?" He blinked slowly, his voice rasping. "It wasn't supposed to be her. They changed the name. They switched it." "Who did?" His gaze lifted, unfocused. "The people in the photos. They said it was just a test, just a ride. But she screamed. I didn't know what to do." Grayson's stomach knotted. "Daniel, who are they?" He didn't answer. Instead, he reached into his soaked jacket and pulled out a folded Polaroid, just like the one found in the freight yard. This one showed Ava Sinclair. Same car, same back seat. But in this photo, her smile was gone. And behind her, reflected in the rear window, was another figure. A man wearing a black baseball cap, face half hidden, holding a camera. Daniel's voice trembled. "That's him, the one running it. He's not a driver. He makes them drive." Detectives transported Daniel to Denver General Hospital for evaluation. He was dehydrated, delirious, and suffering from what doctors called acute stress psychosis. But Grayson knew madness and guilt weren't the same thing. Later that night, while reviewing Daniel's dashcam footage, her team made a breakthrough. Though most files had been deleted, one corrupted video partially recovered from the car's internal memory showed fragments from the night of Ava's disappearance. Rain splattered against the windshield. The dashboard clock flickered. 12:25 a.m. Ava was in the back seat, staring out the window. Then suddenly, a faint click, the sound of a door unlocking. The camera tilted, the driver's seat shifted. Daniel looked confused, turning around. And then, a shadow. Someone outside, opening the rear passenger door. A man's voice whispered, "Change of plans." The screen glitched, then went black. Grayson knew what that meant. Daniel wasn't the only one in the car that night. Someone else had control. Someone who'd gained access to the ride mid-trip. Her tech team traced the proxy IP to a facility in Boulder, registered under a shell company called Drive Secure Analytics, LLC. It claimed to provide safety software for ride-sharing services. But when agents raided the address, they found only empty desks and unplugged servers. The company had dissolved 2 weeks before Ava's disappearance. Still, one clue survived. A list of test accounts, each linked to ride profiles of young women across 3 states, Colorado, Utah, and Nebraska. Each profile matched a similar description: female, mid-20s, traveling alone at night. A chilling pattern. Someone was testing the system. And Emily Carter had been the first one to vanish after the test went live. The next morning, Grayson received an encrypted email on her official account. No sender name, no traceable IP. Just a message that made her blood cold. "Detective Grayson, you're getting close. The girl wasn't random. Check Ava's job. She found something she shouldn't have." Attached was a single image. A grainy security still of Ava at her office building, holding a USB drive. Timestamp: 2 days before she vanished. Grayson immediately called her team. They searched Ava's company network, a cybersecurity firm contracted by multiple government agencies, including the Department of Transportation. Ava had access to internal audit logs, including those that showed ride-sharing data leaks. The kind that could expose how passenger information, names, addresses, routes, was being sold on the dark web. And if Ava found evidence of it, she'd become a liability to someone powerful. That night, as Grayson reviewed the timeline, her phone rang. It was the hospital. Daniel Reeves had regained consciousness. When she arrived, he looked terrified, more lucid but shaking. "They know you're looking," he whispered. "They're going to make it look like I did it, like I killed her. But it's not me. It's the man with the camera. He drives a black SUV. Before he could finish, the heart monitor flatlined. A nurse screamed for help. Doctors rushed in. But Daniel Reeves was gone. Grayson stepped back, numb, staring at the lifeless body of the only man who could have told her the truth. And then one of the nurses handed her something, found clenched in Daniel's fist. A scrap of paper, soaked in sweat. On it, 3 words were written in shaky ink. Ride 5594. Boulder. Grayson felt her chest tighten. Ride 5594. Another ID. Another pickup. Another woman. And when she looked it up, she saw the name. Lena Moore. Age 27. Reported missing just this morning. It was 4:17 a.m. when Detective Laura Grayson's phone vibrated on her nightstand. The call came from dispatch, a 911 report from a roadside diner just outside Boulder, Colorado. A waitress had found a black SUV parked behind the building, engine still running, driver's door open. Inside, a woman's purse, a phone shattered on the floor, and a rideshare decal on the windshield. The name on the phone's cracked lock screen read Lena Moore. Grayson was in her car within minutes, heart pounding as she raced through the early morning fog. She'd barely processed Daniel Reeves' death when this new case dropped like a hammer, Another young woman, same pattern, same area. Whoever was behind this wasn't hiding anymore. They were accelerating. The diner's neon lights flickered in the mist when she arrived. The parking lot smelled of rain and gasoline. Officers had already taped off the area. The SUV sat there, silent and ominous, its headlights cutting through the fog like ghosts. Inside, the seat was still warm. A cup of coffee in the cup holder steamed faintly. Lena hadn't been gone long. On the floor near the pedals, Grayson's flashlight caught a faint smear of blood. In the back seat, she noticed something else. A small pinhole camera lodged in the headrest, connected by a wire to a device under the seat, a modified Wi-Fi transmitter. Whoever installed it wasn't just recording, they were streaming. "Get this to forensics, now," Grayson ordered. 2 hours later, the tech team traced the live stream's IP address to an abandoned property north of the city, a defunct logistics depot near Highway 36. It had been shut down for years, owned by a front company called Drive Secure Analytics, LLC, the same name from the Boulder records. It was the Nest. Grayson and a tactical unit approached the property at dawn. The air was heavy with tension and dew. Rusted trailers sat half-buried in weeds, and a warehouse loomed ahead, its windows blacked out. Inside, the faint hum of computers echoed through the concrete space. Rows of monitors lined the walls, each showing live rideshare feeds from across several states, passengers in cars, unaware they were being watched. And in the center of the room stood a man. Black baseball cap, same one from the Polaroids. He didn't run. He just looked up, calm, almost relieved as Grayson's flashlight hit his face. "Police!" she shouted. "Hands where I can see them." The man raised his hand slowly. "Detective Grayson, I was wondering when you'd get here." His name was Miles Hartley, a former software engineer for a rideshare company that had quietly fired him 2 years earlier after a data breach scandal. Since then, he'd built a shadow network of cloned driver accounts, intercepting real rides and rerouting them through his proxy servers. He called it the Mirror Project. To him, it was a social experiment, testing how far people would trust technology over instinct. But what he'd done went far beyond that. When questioned, Miles explained in chilling calm, "We never picked random victims. We studied them, watched their habits, their fears. We wanted to know what happened when control was taken from them, when they realized they weren't being driven home." Grayson's jaw clenched. "We? Who's we?" He smiled faintly. "There are others, coders, contractors, people inside the system. You can shut this place down, detective, but you can't stop the network." Then he nodded toward one of the screens. "Feed 47. Grayson froze. It was live footage of a car moving down a mountain road, the driver's face obscured by shadows. In the back seat, Lena Moore sat trembling, tears streaking down her face. She was still alive. They traced the GPS to an old quarry site 15 miles east. The moment the SWAT convoy tore down the dirt road, the sound of sirens cut through the empty valley. The black sedan came into view, headlights off, coasting along the edge of the cliff. Grayson jumped from her car before it even stopped, shouting Lena's name. The driver turned his head, eyes wild, jaw twitching. It wasn't Miles. It was another man, a young programmer from Miles's database, his Uber profile cloned from a real driver. Lena was in the back, duct tape across her mouth, wrists bound. The driver panicked, slamming the car into reverse. Tires screeched, gravel exploded under the wheels. "Stop the car!" Grayson yelled, weapon drawn. He hesitated, just long enough for the vehicle to skid sideways and slam into a boulder. The airbags burst with a deafening pop. Officers swarmed in, breaking the windows. They pulled Lena out, shaking and sobbing. The driver was unconscious but alive. As medics rushed to the scene, Grayson caught sight of a tablet on the passenger seat. The screen showed a live chat thread between the driver and a username labeled admin0. The last message read, "Test failed. Terminate account." Seconds later, the device went dark. Back at headquarters, Miles Hartley refused to speak again. Every answer led nowhere. Every file on his servers had been remotely wiped. But one thing remained: a hard drive recovered from his jacket pocket. When decrypted, it revealed dozens of folders named after missing women across the U.S. Each contained videos, screenshots, GPS trails, all meticulously archived. And at the bottom of the list, a new folder had just been created. Grayson. Her blood ran cold. She opened it. Inside was a single image, a live feed from a dashcam showing her own car parked outside her house. Timestamp, 2 minutes ago. She raced outside. The night air was silent except for the faint hum of streetlights. Her car sat exactly where she'd left it, driver's door ajar. On the seat lay a Polaroid. It showed her, standing in that same spot, looking up at the window, taken seconds before she stepped outside. On the back, in the same handwriting as the others, were 4 words: "We're still in control." Grayson's eyes darted to the street. A black SUV idled at the far corner, headlights dimmed. Then it slowly pulled away, disappearing into the fog. By morning, news broke nationwide. The Uber network killings flashed across every channel. The FBI confirmed multiple arrests linked to Miles Hartley's operation, a group of former engineers, data miners, and dark web traders who'd weaponized rideshare systems for exploitation and murder. But several accounts were still active, several faces still unknown. And every night, new reports surfaced of riders feeling watched, rides going off route, drivers' faces not matching their photos. For the public, the story ended when the arrests did. For Grayson, it never did. Because every morning since that night, she finds a new Polaroid tucked under her windshield wiper. Always of her. Always taken from just a little bit closer. They thought the network was shut down. But the truth is, we all gave them permission the moment we pressed Confirm Ride. If you thought this story was intense, you're not ready for what's next. Hit subscribe before your next ride arrives.